Got the money for minutes, petty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, on the block with the pole, This is the life that I chose, on the block with the pole, Thug life for riches, Thug life for riches, Pretty bitch, show me titties, And I got the glizzy, run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, so wow. Now that's what we call a shocking turn of events. Oleksandr Usyk defeated the reigning, defending, unified champion Anthony Joshua in a spectacular performance that's going to probably go down in history as one of the best performances we have seen for a cruiserweight coming up to heavyweight and, fighting for the title. I mean, that was a great performance by Usyk. I mean, he proved me totally wrong. I mean, 100%. I mean, every criticism I had of him before the fight, he addressed every single one. It's almost like he must have been reading he must have watched my video day and night. Okay. Because he addressed every single thing that I said that he didn't do in his first two fights at heavyweight, and he did them in this fight. And I gotta give him his kudos for that. Give him his props. Great performance by Usyk. I mean, wow. All I can say is, there's nothing he could have done. I mean, there's almost nothing he could have done to improve that performance. It was just a great performance. I mean, he really. And then in the last round, the way he finished the fight, to put emphasis on it, he didn't leave any stone unturned. He didn't leave any doubt about who the winner is. Okay, he put emphasis on the win. Great, great performance by Usyk. So, like I said prior to this fight that if Usyk was to beat Anthony Joshua, then I have Usyk against everybody else. And at this point, I'm going to have to go along with that. I'm going to have to stay with that right now because I don't really see who at heavyweight is going to beat him. If Anthony Joshua couldn't, well, maybe Tyson Fury might have a chance. Because they have similar styles, but I don't even think that Fury can beat him from what I see tonight. And if Fury can't beat him, then there's nobody at that heavyweight that can beat him. Okay, except the only other hope is Deontay Wilder in that one-punch knockout. Now, if it was the old Deontay Wilder, he definitely couldn't beat him. But supposedly there's a new and improved Deontay Wilder, so we have to see what this new and improved version of Wilder looks like in the fight against Fury coming up soon. And so that's gonna decide how things are gonna shape up. So then that's gonna be a very important fight between Deontay Wilder and Fury because that's gonna determine how this landscape of the heavyweight division is gonna look like for some time to come, depending on who wins that fight and what is going to shape up, for the future. Now, I saw that after the fight that Usyk said that he wasn't even thinking about the rematch, which is a ominous sign for Joshua. So it looks like, Usyk is not really interested in a rematch, and he's probably going to try to avoid it if he can. But I doubt if he can. I'm pretty sure it's an ironclad contract when it comes to the when it comes to that. So I don't think they'll be able to wiggle out of it by any means. Okay, that would mean that Eddie Hearn didn't do his job in making sure that the contract was ironclad. But Usyk did say that he's not really interested. He's not even thinking about a rematch right now. Okay, so we're gonna see how that shapes up. But yeah, man, that was a great performance by Usyk. I mean, man, I mean, he proved me wrong for sure. I mean, if I ever see him, I'm going to have to apologize and tell him I'm sorry I doubted him. Because and what happened with the whole thing is because now when I first did a analysis of Usyk, in his fight, I did a pre-fight analysis of Usyk and Chisora, and I predicted that Usyk was going to stop Chisora and that he would totally outbox Chisora because I was so high on Usyk's skills. But then after the fight, when I realized what he went in there and he didn't really do much, I kind of you know downgraded my assessment of him. Okay, and maybe I went a little bit too low in my assessment, in my downgrade. Maybe I took away a couple of stripes. Maybe I shouldn't have took away that many stripes, and maybe I should have just given him a chance. So he definitely proved me wrong tonight, and kudos to him, man. Great performance for the man. Okay, put on a strong, solid performance. He went in there and did like I said that Holyfield did when he was the champion, moving up to the bigger weight. He went up there and overpowered the big men. Okay, he outfought them. Holyfield outfought them, outpunched them, outboxed them, and overpowered them like Usyk did with AJ tonight. Great performance. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And that was definitely reminiscent of something that Holyfield would have done. Okay, and so you're gonna have to put Usyk up there, with the very best of them, of guys that moved up and the top echelon of the heavyweight division, not just now, but in history as well. So yeah, great performance. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens next in the heavyweight division now that Usyk has, basically shaken up the division. Okay, this is basically what's going on right now. So he has basically shaken up the division, and we don't know what's going to happen next. But it's definitely going to be interesting. You got the Fury AJ fight. I mean Fury Deontay Wilder fight coming up soon. So that fight is gonna, establish, whether it's gonna be possibly Fury or Deontay Wilder, in a possible fight with Usyk in the future for Undisputed if he wins the rematch with AJ, because I'm pretty sure that rematch probably gonna come before he does anything else. But yeah, what a performance! Wow! Congratulations to Usyk, man. Great job. I gotta give it to you, Usyk. You did your thing, and you showed. You erased all doubts about what your credentials as a heavyweight. You have just erased all doubts about fighting big guys in the heavyweight division, and nobody can bring that criticism to you anymore. Okay, you don't silence all doubters in that one. That's over with. You're definitely with one of the big boys now. So kudos. So now we got to look at what's going to happen next in the heavyweight division. Usyk says he's going to take a long rest, so probably well deserved. Okay, he's going to take a good long rest. Build his family, and so forth and so on. And I'm pretty sure that's well deserved. So I guess we'll hear more about in the coming weeks about what's going to be next. And now, especially once they have that fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Now, to talk about Joshua and his performance tonight, man, that was a very poor performance by Joshua. I don't know what's going on with Joshua, but like I said in the beginning of the fight, as I was watching the fight and commentating, he looked very tentative in there, like he, wasn't sure what he was doing. Which is very strange and disconcerting to see him doing, fighting like that. Like when I was commenting on the fight in the beginning, I kept saying he looked so tentative. Why did he look that tentative? Now, that's the same way he looked against Ruiz the first time. Okay, so he looked okay against Pulev, but in this fight he didn't look right. So I don't know what's going on with Joshua, but maybe, I don't want to say I'm trying to tell everybody what to do, but maybe Joshua, needs to just take this rematch fight with Usyk and then just retire, win or lose. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what's going on, but I didn't like what I saw in there tonight. I don't know what it was, why he was looking like that, but he was looking very tentative from the very first round, and he didn't do much of anything that he should have done to win the fight. Okay, he didn't go in there and establish himself as a big man fighter. Like I kept saying during the fight, he kept ducking down and bringing himself down to Usyk's size and kept going for every feint that Usyk had. So I just didn't understand what he was doing. He was very tentative. Like the most noticeable thing was is how tentative he was the whole fight. He didn't know what to do next. Like he just kept he didn't start letting his hands go until late in the fight, and by that time it was way too late. Usyk had been building up points the whole time, and Usyk hurt him a couple of times in there. So the AJ I'm looking at tonight, I don't know what happened or what's going on with AJ, but something's definitely wrong with him. He needs to either retire or take a long rest or do something to get himself back together if he's going to decide whether or not he wants to continue in boxing, because that AJ that I saw tonight would have been beaten by any of the current heavyweight people I see out there now. Dylan White would have beaten him. The AJ we saw tonight, Dylan White would have beaten that AJ. Deontay Wilder would have beaten that AJ. Tyson Fury would have beaten that AJ. Joseph Parker would have beaten that AJ. Anthony Ruiz would definitely have beaten that AJ. So, he didn't look really good. Now, it might be just the fact that how good Usyk is, and he just make people look ordinary. He make them look, maybe it's just Usyk's style, the way he fights. Maybe he's the one that, just made AJ look like that, So that could be it as well. But, I'm not going to take anything away from Usyk. He did do a great job in there, but OJ just didn't look right. Looked too tentative from the very start. I can't take anything away from Usyk, but maybe it's Usyk why he looked like that. He looked so tentative, and maybe just Usyk just kept him off balance because he was keeping him off balance. So with his movement and his feints, it seemed like he had AJ faked out the whole time. He kept faking AJ and feinting AJ. And AJ kept going for all the feints. He went for every feint that Usyk gave him. So that might have been a big factor, why he was so tentative. And, and maybe because every time he tried something, Usyk would hit him with a jab, an overhand, hit him sometimes with a straight left, a looping left, sometimes a looping right. He kept touching AJ the whole fight. So AJ really had no answer and didn't really make much adjustments to what was going on. A couple of times he made a move and touched up Usyk a couple of times and made Usyk go back and step backwards and stop. He stopped Usyk in his tracks a couple of times, but he didn't follow up enough and he didn't let his hands go enough. Okay, so that's basically what it came down to. He was just too tentative, wasn't letting his punches go, and Usyk basically had the room, the time, and the space necessary to do what he wanted. Because there was nothing really stopping him from doing anything. AJ wasn't really, there wasn't anything coming at him too much to where, it was keeping him at bay, except for one or two times in the fight where AJ fired back at him and had him stopped him in his tracks. And he did stop him when he connected. But AJ didn't do enough of those type of connections. He didn't hit him enough to be able to stop him like he did in those couple of instances. And so AJ, let the ball go really. And, as we saw, Usyk kept getting more aggressive and more aggressive as he got more confident and more confident until finally it looked like he was actually going for the knockout in the last round against AJ and probably would have locked him out if he would have went one more round. Okay. It looked like AJ got his eye was injured or something. I don't know if they clashed heads or what happened, but it looked like AJ got some kind of injury to his eye. Okay, but Usyk almost knocked him out in the 12th round. I mean, talk about the turn of events. This is what should have happened to Usyk. He should have been almost knocked out, in the fight, but instead it's AJ that got almost knocked out. And I can't say enough about the performance by Usyk, man. It was a great performance. I mean, man, he knew the exact strategy of the fight to beat AJ. And like I said, whatever is going on with AJ needs to, I don't know. I think, based on what I saw from AJ tonight, anybody would have beaten him at heavyweight. Tyson would have beaten him. I mean, not Tyson. Well, maybe even Tyson would have beaten him. I'm not talking about Tyson Fury. When I said Tyson, I was thinking about Mike Tyson. But what I really, but the bottom line is that the AJ I saw tonight would have been beaten by Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, or anybody else. He just looked very bad in there. Again, I can't know I don't know if I'm supposed to attribute that to what Usyk was doing, and maybe Usyk made it look like that. That could be a possibility because he was definitely doing his thing in there, and for the most part, he had it all his way except for one or two times when AJ caught him with a good shot and backed him up, and he stopped and took notice. But AJ didn't deliver enough of those instances. AJ should have did more of that, and the whole fight would have been a different fight if AJ would have went in there and bullied Usyk and try to beat him up. But it looked like he couldn't really even do that because Usyk just kept him so off balance, and he just kept trying to box with Usyk, which didn't make much sense because Usyk kept tagging him, and and he just kept doing the same thing the whole fight. He just kept trying to box, bringing himself down to Usyk's size. Afraid to throw the right hand. It looked like because I guess he was afraid to get hit, by Usyk. So all I can say is this was one of the best performances by AJ that I've seen. I mean, this wasn't a performance that he's going to look back on and say he was proud of it because it was very bad. Okay, a very bad performance by AJ. Didn't really do much for his reputation. Hopefully, the one good thing that we can take away from this whole situation with Usyk and AJ and the loss is that maybe he actually learned something in there against Usyk because, believe me, there was plenty to learn. Usyk was doing everything in the book, okay? So hopefully AJ, learned from this loss, and but again, from what I see of AJ right now, man, I mean, and it's not because I'm disappointed in the loss, but. Because I'm glad Usyk won, actually, because I like Usyk, okay? Even though I was disappointed, in his last performance, and I probably rated him a little bit too low, in my disappointment in his performance against Chisora, because I'm a boxing fan. I like boxers, okay? And I always like to see a good boxing performance. And the performance I saw tonight with Usyk was a great boxing performance, spectacular. That's the kind of thing you want to see in boxing, what I mean? That was a great display of boxing skill and technique and strategy, You know what I mean? It was a great fight, man. That was one of the best fights of the year. I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be hard for Deontay Wilder and Fury to top this fight. Okay, it was a great performance by Usyk, and like I said, if Usyk can beat Joshua, then I got Usyk against everybody else, and I'm gonna have to stick with that because from what I saw, you know, I thought Usyk wasn't tough enough, but he showed some toughness in there against Joshua. I said he wasn't tough. I said he wasn't strong, but he was in there manhandling Joshua. So, the Usyk I saw in there tonight was 180 degrees from the Usyk I saw in Chisora fight. It's like you saw two different Usyk. So yeah, I'm with Usyk right now as far as the heavyweight division. I think him and Joshua could have a rematch, but I don't know how are you gonna beat the guy that you should have beaten the first time, and he's gonna come back in there even more confident than he was the last time. And this wasn't like a, he beat Joshua over 12 rounds. It wasn't like a flash knockout or a quick knockout or a lucky knockout or he just strictly outfight him, outboxed him, outpunched him for 12 straight rounds. Okay. And I thought that he would never be able to do that, but he proved me wrong again. He was able to do that. Okay, so second fight rematch, I don't really see what it's gonna do, but I mean, except that Joshua might come in there with a different strategy and did what he should have done in the first place, and that was to just go all out for the knockout and let win or lose, and just go for it. That's what he should have done. Maybe he'll do it the second fight, but if there is a second fight and there's a rematch, I'm gonna be if they were to have another fight again, I'm probably gonna be going with Usyk this time around because he definitely impressed me with what I saw tonight from Usyk, and it would be hard to bet against him in a rematch against Joshua based on what I saw tonight. Okay, but you never know because I thought Usyk was gonna lose tonight, so I thought Joshua was gonna knock him out, so you never know. We could see a different Joshua in the rematch. Joshua that's gonna come in here to do the job like he was supposed to do in this fight. So we don't know how he's gonna play out, but we'll see. We're definitely gonna see. But again, congratulations to Usyk. Great performance. Not just great, but it was a masterclass of boxing. Technique, strategy, determination, endurance, skill. Yeah, it was all of that and a bag of chips. You know what I'm saying? Great performance by Usyk, man. Yeah, spectacular. As for Joshua, I guess he's gonna have to go back and reevaluate his career and decide what he wants to do next. The rematch, and if that's the case, and but I think Joshua got to do a lot of reevaluating right now on what he wants to, how he's gonna move forward. If he's gonna go for the rematch and what he's gonna do after that, because I don't know. This Joshua, I mean, I've never seen Joshua look so tentative in any fight. Okay? Not even in the Ruiz fight, he looked tentative. It looked like he was afraid that to take any chances because he didn't want to get hit. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but it didn't look good at all. So he's going to definitely have to do some reevaluation. I mean, he's made enough money now in boxing. He could move on to something else, do modeling or whatever the hell else he want to do, acting or whatever. So, I mean, he might want to think about, a change of career at this point based on, what we saw tonight. And, maybe he might want to go for the rematch and then, win or lose, go ahead and retire, you know what I mean? Because it's hard for me to see, based on what I saw Joshua do tonight, it's hard for me to see him beat anybody at the heavyweight level, such as Tyson Fury or even Deontay Wilder. I can't really picture it in my mind. Okay, The Joshua I saw today, I can't picture him beating Deontay Wilder. That's a cause for concern right there. Okay, believe it, I'm telling you, that's a big cause for concern if I can't picture Deontay Wilder losing to Anthony Joshua, and I can't picture it right now in my head. Okay, based on what I saw tonight, all I'm looking at when I picture that is Deontay Wilder delivering a straight right hand and knocking Joshua out, which is probably what would happen. Okay, so I don't, I definitely don't see Joshua beating Fury at this rate, from what I saw tonight. So so at that, based on that, man, I mean, Joshua just needs to make maybe I'm overreacting. Okay, maybe like I did when Usyk didn't do a good performance against Chisora. And but who knows? What I can say is, I'm not really disappointed in what happened because it was a great fight. I like the fight. It was a great fight. It's not a disappointing fight to me because I'm for whoever the better fighter is. You know what I mean? So tonight Usyk was a better fighter, and he put on a great performance, and he get all the credit in the world from me. And congratulations, and the best man won, and that was that. And this is what boxing is all about. This is the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so Usyk went in there and did his thing, and then so he reaped the rewards. You know what I mean? And that's it's great, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And I'm glad, that there was no controversy, but it couldn't have been because the way he made it emphatic in that last round. That so even if anybody was trying to swing the other way, after the last round, there was no doubt about who the winner of that fight was because he was like seconds away from knocking Joshua out. Seconds. Okay, so it is what it is. Not a very good performance by Joshua. Masterclass performance by Usyk. Exactly how to fight a big man like Joshua. He did everything right that he was supposed to do. I mean, it's hard to find one flaw in his performance tonight. I mean, it was just a master class of boxing, and I always go for the boxer, but I kind of wavered a little bit tonight, based on what I saw in that Chisora and Chaz Witherspoon fight, and I didn't think that Usyk would make an adjustment so fast to heavyweight after those two fights. And based on the way he performed in those two fights, I figured it would take him maybe 3-4 more fights to adjust to heavyweight, and that he was getting into the fight with Anthony Joshua too fast, and so he was going to lose, based on that because he wasn't really ready and tough enough for the big guys. But he proved me wrong, and that he is tough enough, and that he is ready, and he does what he has to do. So he rose to the occasion, and that's what a great boxers do. They rise to the occasion, and this was definitely a great fighter in Usyk. Great performance all the way around. I mean, it was just a master class. I mean, I'm just glad I was able to watch it. Great. I mean, couldn't have asked for anything more from him in this fight, and he definitely got my congratulations for sure. I'm just looking forward to see what he's going to be doing next and who he's going to be fighting next. Okay, because whoever he fights next, I'm probably going to be with Usyk on that one because I don't really see who is going to outbox him at heavyweight because he just showed that he could box with the big guys and fight with the big guys. And even when they were in close, and they were wrestling, he was out wrestling, AJ. He was like he was a stronger fighter on the inside. Which was really surprising, when they actually was wrestling, okay? So, yeah, it was a great, masterclass. Definitely a shocker, though, for AJ, and definitely, upset as far as the odd makers are concerned. But, yeah, Usyk is the man right now. So, right, just like that, he got, 3 belts? 4, I think, yeah, because I think AJ got the IBO belt as well. So yeah, I mean, only belt he don't have now is that WBC belt. Okay, and from what I'm looking at tonight, he shouldn't be too long before he gets that belt as well. So it looked like he's going to become undisputed at, from in 2 weight divisions, because I don't really see anybody that's going to be able to stand in his way. But we'll see. Style make fights, and like I said, anybody, either Fury or AJ would have beaten the, either Fury or Deontay Wilder would have beaten AJ we saw tonight, from what I can see. I mean, he just looked too tentative in there. It didn't look like he was ready for some reason. But he looked all kind of, when he was coming out, like he just didn't seem focused. I made a comment about that when he was coming out, that the way he was saying hi to almost everybody in the fight as he was coming out, in the ring walk, and I was like, yeah, whoa, focus. You just be focused. You can't be slapping everybody five and stopping and saying hi to this and hugging this person. Like, what the hell? This is not a love fest. You get ready to fight. You know what I mean? So I just didn't understand all of that. But we all saw the result of all of that, and so yeah, we have a new champion now in Oleksandr Usyk. And well deserved as well. Great performance. Couldn't ask for anything better. I'm glad I got to saw it. Great fight. And now we're gonna see how everything is gonna shape out in the division. We might see another upset, and Deontay Wilder might end up beating Tyson Fury based on what we're looking at now. And so if that was to happen, then you'd have Deontay Wilder against Oleksandr Usyk, in a big showdown. That would be a great fight right there. So yeah, man, great fight. I'm definitely looking forward to this upcoming fight now with Deontay Wilder and Fury, to see who's going to be the one in position to go up against Oleksandr Usyk. So yeah, great. Yeah, I mean, definitely a different turn of events, and so we saw some definitely some shocking. This definitely was a shocker. It was a shocker. Well, Oleksandr Usyk shook the world. He shocked the world, as Ali would say. I shocked the world. Yep. Right now, the whole world's in shock because of what Usyk did tonight. So he's definitely on the on the top of the world stage right now. I mean, when you go back to the Ukraine, they're probably gonna elect him president. So he probably won't even have to run. They're probably just going to put him in the office. But yeah, great performance, man, by Usyk. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so for right now, he definitely shook up the heavyweight division. A lot of things are going to be moving and shaking in the next couple of weeks. We're going to see how everything shake out. But great, again, I can't say it enough. Great performance by Oleksandr Usyk. AJ, I'm pretty sure he got a lot of things to consider and to reevaluate about how he's going to move forward with his career from here. But we're going to leave it at that. I mean, they're going to decide what they have to do, or what they're going to do, or what they're going to do to rematch, or how it's going to play out. So I guess we just have to wait and see. But that's all I have for right now. This is TBE. I'm out. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channels, okay? To my YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to that. Go to the website. Check it out. Go to the TBE Boxing Podcast as well. Podcast.tbeboxing.com. That's all I have for right now, people. We out.